Banana seat bikes. You weren't really a 70's kid, unless you had, or at least desperately wanted, a banana seat bike. You know the one. That long, cushy seat that looked more like something you'd find in a diner booth than on a bicycle. It was the ride of the decade. These bikes weren't just for getting from point A to point B. No. This was your muscle car, your Harley, your freedom machine. You'd cruise the neighborhood like you owned the block, legs pumping, hair blowing in the wind, probably feathered, because it was the 70's and those plastic streamers whipping off the handlebars, like tassels from a disco queen's jacket. You might have added a little playing card clipped to the spokes for that motorcycle sound, because nothing said tough kid like pretending your bike was a revving engine while still riding a pink Schwinn with rainbow grips. Honestly, the drama was unmatched. You parked that bike on lawns, sidewalks, and driveways like you were parking a Cadillac. And if someone had a bike with chrome fenders, a basket, and reflectors that looked like mini disco balls, instant status. Banana seat bikes weren't just a ride, they were an experience. They were summer afternoons, scraped knees, races down gravel roads, and yelling, "No hands," while coasting downhill like a legend. They were freedom, childhood, and attitude, all in one wobbly, colorful, glorious package. Stretch Armstrong toys that leaked if you pulled too hard. Ah yes, Stretch Armstrong. The weirdest, coolest, most oddly satisfying toy ever invented. And also, the most traumatic if you got a little too curious. Every kid in the 70's either had one, knew someone who had one, or begged for one until their parents caved. He was this rubbery, muscle-bound action figure in wrestling shorts, who could stretch from one side of the living room to the other without snapping. You'd grab his arms, your friend would grab his legs, and you'd pull in opposite directions, like you were reenacting some sort of gladiator-level tug-of-war. And the best part? He always bounced back like nothing happened. It was magic. It was science. It was whatever sorcery they put in there that made us believe he was unbreakable. Until you pulled a little too hard. Then came the horror. That one slow, terrible moment when Stretch started oozing. Not blood. Not slime. No, something worse. This creepy, corn-syrupy goo that looked like alien tears. And let me tell you, once Stretch started leaking, it was over. That sweet, stretchy life was done. Game over, man. Of course, this didn't stop us. We kept Stretch going until he looked like a wrung-out noodle with hairline tears all over him. And if you were one of those kids who deliberately tried to see what was inside him, because you had a little mad scientist streak, you'll remember the distinct feeling of guilt mixed with awe as you dissected Poor. Stretched like a classroom frog, watching Happy Days and wanting to be the Fonz. Remember Happy Days? Of course you do. It was the show that made you wish you lived in the 50's, even though you were smack in the middle of the 70's. And let's be real, everyone wanted to be the Fonz. That guy was untouchable. He could fix anything with a well-timed smack, rock a leather jacket year-round, and get girls just by raising his eyebrows and saying, "Aye!" Iconic. We all tried the Fonzie move at some point, hitting the TV when it acted up, smacking the toaster, slapping the jukebox, well, pretending we had one. Spoiler alert, it didn't work, but you felt cool doing it. And his hair? That grease-slicked masterpiece deserved its own zip code. We tried to copy it, but let's just say, not everyone pulls off bacon grease chic. Bottom line, the Fonz didn't talk much, but when he did, you shut up and listened. He was proof that cool wasn't about yelling. It was about owning the room without saying a word. Just thumbs up one eye at a time. Saturday morning cartoons followed by Schoolhouse Rock. Let's face it, Saturday mornings in the 70's were sacred. That was your time. No school, no chores, just a bowl of sugary cereal and hours of pure cartoon gold. You'd park yourself in front of the TV in your pajamas, eyes glued to Super Friends, Bugs Bunny, Fat Albert, and whatever other animated chaos was on. It was like a mini kids-only holiday every single week. And just when your brain was about to melt from all that, slapstick and cereal-induced sugar, bam, Schoolhouse Rock showed up to sneak in some learning. A little I'm Just a Bill, or Conjunction Junction, between explosions and pratfalls. And guess what? It worked. You probably still hum those songs and low-key know how a bill becomes law better than most adults today. Saturday mornings were the ultimate combo of cartoons. Catchy tunes and zero responsibilities. Honestly, adulthood never stood a chance. Roller skating to disco music under a spinning mirror ball. If you didn't spend at least one weekend roller skating under a mirror. Ball in the 70's. Did you even have a childhood? Skating rinks were the place to be. Loud music, flashing lights, and that magical disco ball spinning like it was holding the secrets of the universe. You'd lace up those chunky four-wheel skates, wobble out onto the floor, and suddenly, boom, you were John Travolta on wheels. And the music? Pure disco fire. Staying alive, boogie wonderland, maybe even a little La Freak if things got wild. You didn't just skate, you grooved. Sometimes in circles, sometimes straight into a wall, but it didn't matter. You were fabulous. Bonus points if you had glittery, laces or feathered, hair that bounced while you skated, and if you pulled off a couple moves without falling. Straight legend status. Roller rinks were where friendships formed, crushes started, and confidence was built, usually right before you wiped out in front of everyone. Drinking Tang because astronauts did? Let's talk Tang, the powdered orange drink that tasted kind of like juice, but mostly like space-age sugar dust, and we loved it. Why? Because astronauts drank it, that's why. NASA gave it the stamp of approval, and suddenly every kid in America wanted to sip like they were floating in zero gravity. It didn't matter that it was basically orange Kool-Aid's weird cousin. If it was good enough for the guys on Apollo missions, it was good enough for our kitchen table. Mix it with water, give it a stir, and boom, you were an honorary astronaut. And maybe it didn't taste amazing, but you felt important drinking it. Like you were fueling up for a moonwalk. Or at least for riding your bike down the block. Honestly, Tang didn't just sell a drink, it sold a dream with pulp-free convenience. Using rotary phones and having to remember phone numbers, back in the 70s, calling someone was a commitment. You had a rotary phone, big, clunky, usually beige or avocado green, and dialing a number took time. You'd stick your finger in the right hole. Spin it all the way around, wait for it to click back. And God help you if the number had too many nines. You'd be there all day, and if you messed up even one digit, nope, start over. No backspace, no delete. Just frustration and finger cramps. Also, no contacts list. If you didn't have someone's number memorized or written down in a crusty address book by the phone, you weren't calling them, period. And let's not forget, you had to stay in one spot. That cord wasn't going anywhere. You'd stretch it as far as it would go, usually wrapping it around a doorway, your leg, or your little brother, just for a bit of privacy. But somehow it worked. And we remembered numbers like champs. These days people barely know their own. Metal lunchboxes with thermoses that always smelled kinda weird. Those metal lunchboxes? Pure childhood gold. You didn't just carry lunch in them, you carried your identity. Whether it was the $6 Million Man, Charlie's Angels, Star Wars, or the Brady Bunch. Your lunchbox told the world who you were. And inside, that matching thermos with the plastic lid, judged cup combo, and that mysterious, slightly funky smell that never went away, no matter how many times your mom washed it. It was like the scent of old soup, milk, and childhood dreams, all sealed in tight. The latch always bent if you dropped it, which you did. The corners got dinged up, which they did. And if you were really unlucky, your thermos would leak and your sandwich would end up tasting like last week's tomato soup. But you didn't care, because showing up at the cafeteria with that shiny metal lunchbox was peak 70s cool, even if the inside smelled like regret. Waiting for your favorite song to play on the radio so you could record it on a cassette. You haven't known true patience until you sat by the radio with your fingers hovering over the record, and play buttons on your tape deck, just waiting for your jam to come on. There was no Spotify, no YouTube, no play that again. If you wanted a song, you had to stalk it like a jungle cat and pounce the second that DJ said, "Here's a little something from Fleetwood Mac." And heaven forbid the DJ talked over the intro. Instant rage. You'd still record it, of course, but you'd be salty forever. Also, timing was everything. Miss the first second? You'd either wait all over again or accept your janky version like a badge of honor. And those homemade mixtapes? Absolute masterpieces. Carefully labeled, passed around like sacred scrolls, and half filled with songs you caught mid-chorus. Honestly, recording songs off the radio was part skill, part obsession, and 100% pure 70s kid magic. Putting aluminum foil on TV antennas to get better reception. If you didn't twist a pair of rabbit ears and slap on some aluminum foil like a tech wizard. Were you even watching TV in the 70s? We all became reception engineers in our own living rooms. 1 second, the Love Boat was crystal clear. Next second, Static City. The solution? A piece of kitchen foil, a little squinting, and holding the antenna at just the right angle, usually while standing. On one leg like a flamingo. Sometimes you'd have to stay in that weird position just to keep the picture stable. You became a human antenna. And if someone dared walk across the room and messed it up, oh, it was war. It wasn't high-tech, but it worked. Kind of. And honestly, that snowy, half-working screen still felt like magic back then. Getting excited when the Sears catalog arrived. Before Amazon, before online anything, there was the Sears catalog. That thick, glorious book of dreams. When it showed up in the mailbox, it was like Christmas came early. You'd drop whatever you were doing, grab a snack, and start flipping, page by page, circling everything you absolutely needed but totally weren't getting. Bikes, toys, lava lamps, that funky egg chair, all of it. And the toy section? Oh man, it was basically childhood crack. You could spend hours planning your dream life. I'll get the stretch Armstrong, the easy bake oven, that spaceship set, and maybe a trampoline. Why not? You didn't even need to buy anything. The catalog itself was entertainment, a wish list, a time killer, a fashion guide, and eventually a doorstop or makeshift booster seat. Sears didn't just sell stuff, they sold possibility in one heavy, glossy book, playing outside until the streetlights came on. Back in the 70s, your parents didn't need to keep track of your every move. All they needed to do was shout, "Be home by dark!" And boom, you were off. The great outdoors was your playground. No screens, no distractions, just bikes, friends, and whatever random game you could make up on the fly. Capture the flag, hide and seek, stickball. It didn't matter. The only rule was that when the streetlights flickered on, that was your cue to race home. No exceptions. And you didn't even question it. The sun would start to dip, and like clockwork, you'd hear the distant hum of the first streetlight flickering to life. Time to wrap up your epic adventures and head back inside, where you were guaranteed to have a snack. Ready because your mom was always prepared. But until then, you were free, running wild and loud with your friends, living a life where sunset meant end of fun. Eating TV dinners on a TV tray, the original dinner in front of the TV move, and a luxury back in the 70s, no need for fancy plates or silverware. You'd pop that metal tray into the oven, wait for it to heat up, and voila, instant dinner. And the best part? The compartmentalized tray. You had your mashed potatoes, your meat, your vegetables, and that mystery dessert all neatly separated like an edible puzzle. Was the meat real? Who knows? But it was hot and it was food. Which of these fond memories can you relate to? Share with us in the comments and let's swap childhood stories. If you enjoyed this video so far, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for more content like this.